Hi. Today, I'd like to give a brief update on the roadmap for the Monitor team here at GitLab. I'm Joshua Lambert, a product manager here on the Monitor team, and you can find me at Josh Lambert at gitlab.com. Now, the Monitor team is a relatively newer team here at GitLab, and so I'd like to take the opportunity to provide an introduction to what we do here. Our work is mainly focused on two areas. The first is the monitoring features that we're working on as part of our DevOps lifecycle. So this is where the application that you're planning, creating, building, releasing, packaging, configuring, and now deploying and operating in production, we can observe and understand the health and performance characteristics of the application. You can then understand if there's problems or opportunities for improvements and funnel those back into the DevOps lifecycle for planning, prioritization, creation, and so on. We're also responsible for making sure that our customers, as well as our GitLab.com service, has the necessary instrumentation and observability so our users can easily run our instance and make sure it's running healthy and provide proactive notifications in the event there could be potential problems. The idea being that we can make sure that running GitLab is as easy and as painless as it possibly can be. Let's take a deeper look at both these two areas just briefly. Now, the monitor stage for DevOps is focused on two main different areas. One is the observability features, or the inputs coming in from the application. With those inputs, we also want to take insights, take actions, and also provide some key insights as well. For the signals and the data input, we're focused on five main areas: metrics for time series data, logging, tracing for understanding deep performance of the application itself, error tracking, and also synthetic monitoring. Now, once we have those five key inputs coming in the application, providing us telemetry and understanding of how the application is performing, we can then take some further action. And we're focusing three key areas here for 2019. The first is incident management, so you can actually open issues and work any kind of problems that do occur. A status page to communicate those problems out to your users, as well as cluster monitoring, which can help drive efficiency and provide awareness in case there are some bad actors or some bad neighbors within the cluster. On the instance monitoring side of things, we're similarly focused on four areas. The first two are ensuring that our developers and the broader development community, with GitLab being open source, have good instrumentation frameworks that they can use to instrument their code so they can know how it's performing. We're also focused on taking a look at the overall instrumentation picture and providing some alerts, right? So we want to make sure that you have a comprehensive set of metrics available to you to run the instance and hopefully provide some alerts to provide proactive notification in case there could be potential problems in the near future. On top of those, we're going to provide some great out-of-the-box dashboards that utilize those metrics that we built in earlier to provide a great experience for understanding how the service is performing and not have to have users create them themselves. We also want to package some runbooks, and so if you do have alerts being triggered, you have also some references and some guides on how to perhaps address those alerts and hopefully resolve them before they become a real problem. So with that being our charter here at GitLab, we're focused on four key areas within that spectrum in the next few months: error tracking, metrics, incident management, and instance monitoring. Let's take a look at each of these in sequence. So error tracking is a service where you want to understand if your application, whether it's one monolith on one server or a number of servers out there, are having problems, right? And this is things like exceptions or other errors with the application, connection errors and things like that. These can get reported back to a central location, and you can understand how often they're occurring, how many users are impacted, and also what commits or changes that they were related to. We use this to hopefully allow users to discover errors before your users have to report them, as well as also driving a faster awareness and resolution of the errors themselves. We do this by trying to have contextual servicing within the application and within the workflows that developers are already using to understand the errors that they're potentially generating, and the impact they're having on the users. Now, for error tracking, we're focused on having the first MVC or first sort of iteration of error tracking within GitLab. And we're doing that by having an integration with Sentry. So you'll be able to configure a Sentry server, and within that, you can then get a listing of the most recent errors that have been found. And that will be arriving in 11.8. In the future, we want to extend this by having that error information surfaced in more contextual places. So for example, if you have an error linked in an issue by URL, or perhaps you opened an issue in GitLab from within Sentry, we can actually embed or unfurl that error's information directly in the issue, and so you have a better idea of what's happening without having to go to a second location. Similarly, we also want to provide information on the merge request page. So Sentry can determine if there are some suspicious commits that are linked to a given error. We can then take those and associate them to a merge request as well. And this way we can provide on the merge request workflow insight into what errors may have been created by that particular change. Similarly, we want to enhance the list and provide users the ability to filter those errors by commit, merge request, or release. Moving on to metrics, we're focused on two key areas for this particular existing set of features. Number one, we want to make sure our dashboard is more flexible and can better support troubleshooting workflows, as well as also has improved support for long-term storage and aggregation across multiple Prometheus servers. So to that end, we're focused on some key things here in the near future. First, we want to have a link from our dashboard out to Grafana. This is because we recognize that our dashboard is still in the works and still needs some improvement before we can address all the various potential workflows that you might want to use and something that Grafana already has. And so we want to provide a nice way to get to that more fully featured dashboard until we have more of those features baked into the GitLab dashboard itself. We also want to enable external Prometheus servers to generate and send alerts to GitLab. So today at GitLab, you can already deploy Prometheus with a single click to Kubernetes. Once deployed, you can easily create and receive alerts directly within GitLab. However, for external servers, if you aren't perhaps running Prometheus or Kubernetes, for example, did not have that functionality. You couldn't set or receive alerts. And so we want to go ahead and support alerts, for example, from Prometheus servers outside Kubernetes, just like we do with the more fully managed experience. We also want to provide some key dashboard enhancements, customizable time spans, and so you can drill into particular areas of the metrics. We also want to provide an inline chart designer so you can actually add charts from within the dashboard itself without having to go all the way out to settings. And then also additional chart types beyond the line series for things like heat maps and gauges. In the future, we want to have a version-controlled dashboard configuration file within the repository. This can allow you to have synchronized changes for your metrics, as well as the dashboards that will then render them. And these can be reviewed and merged in the same merge request. We also want to have support for multiple dashboards, as well as the option for have metric drill downs and variables. For example, here at GitLab, we use the drill downs to be able to filter on particular Rails controllers to understand exactly how that particular Rails controller's metrics are behaving. And we want to provide that same experience for our customers as well. Now, I'll take a brief pause here and just ask for some feedback. This feedback is across error tracking and metrics, and these are some kind of questions that we're talking about internally and would love some feedback on. So click through to the issues linked to these features. Find me my contact information in the later end of this presentation, or otherwise just get in touch with GitLab. And it doesn't have to be on these particular questions. We love feedback across any spectrum of monitor across about our product, as well as, of course, everyone here can contribute with GitLab. Let's move on to incident management. This is a new area that we're working on in 2019 that I am particularly excited about. What we would like to do is have an issue act as the single source of truth for a given incident. Now, you might not be actively working the incident in that issue, but the issue should provide, again, a single source of where it's being worked, whether it's Slack, Zoom, Google Doc, who is working on it, what the current status is, as well as any relevant data like metrics, errors, logs, etc. From that view, once the incident has been resolved, we want to help improve follow-up. We can do this by helping to track any kind of post-mortem issues that were opened to try and prevent the issue from happening again. And we can help to drive those to closure and provide some robust reporting around them so they don't get lost in the mix. And we can also help to assign the outage, if there was one, to an error budget. And this can help balance velocity and stability. So to the end, we're working on a few things here in the near future. Number one, we want to be able to open issues from alerts. So for example, if you get an alert coming in from Prometheus, we can have an alert created. And we also want to be able to allow you to define a given template for an alert. This can let you configure the base content in the issue and allows for some emergent options within particular the quick actions features of GitLab. And we'll talk about those in just a second. Building on top of the issues, we also want to allow users to embed content from third-party services within them. And so we're working on an embedding framework and the design therein within that issue. Once we have design nailed down, the first embedded content type we want to work with on the monitor team is metrics. So again, going back to the Prometheus example, a Prometheus alert is fired, an issue is created from the alert. A template is used, which allows you to do things like inserting quick actions and labels. And you can then also include a metric within that issue as well. And that'll give you a live interactive chart. From there, we want to expand the embedding features out to services like Zoom, PagerDuty, errors, logs, Salesforce, and Slack. Again, help you to track those post-mortem issues so they don't get lost. And then allocate error budgets, again, to make sure that you're achieving the desired balance between velocity and stability. Now, to dive a little bit more detail into the incident design and how that kind of works with quick actions, we have a couple of slides here to talk in more detail. So in the screenshot, you can see this is the template that we'll be using for our incidents. Now, quick actions, if you aren't familiar with them, are those slash commands you can see in the description. In this case, you can see we'll be perhaps embedding a Zoom call, linking to a Slack channel, linking to PagerDuty, as well as also be the option to label the incident or the issue automatically with the incident label. So these quick actions, again, have a wealth of existing features like managing users, assigning labels, setting confidentiality, and more. And we can extend those features with that embedding framework here as well. So this template, when populated with an alert coming from Prometheus, for example, could look like this. You have at the top of the issue where the incident is being worked. You know it's an incident. You can also include additional labels potentially as well for particular services and severity coming from Prometheus, as well as, of course, also that embedded metric chart to give you that live interactive view. Let's transition to the last key focus area here for the team in the near future, which is instance monitoring. And we want to go ahead and improve really the out-of-the-box monitoring experience you get with GitLab when self-managed, but also, again, improve the proactive notifications that we can generate as well. So a few key features that we're working on here and to improve the instance monitoring features. Number one is we want to bundle Grafana with GitLab. So right now we bundle Prometheus and a number of exporters to make sure you have the data you need to understand how Prometheus is performing. And so we package all of that. And so it's all being cataloged and stored in Prometheus. However, we ask you currently to then install Grafana and install the dashboard for GitLab or hook it up yourself to some other system. We'd like to remove the manual action required and simply ship with Grafana and the GitLab dashboard already baked into the package. This way, as soon as you install GitLab, you have monitoring available to you to review immediately. We also want to enhance our existing set of alerts to detect new potential error conditions and to provide proactive notifications to hopefully avoid any problems before they become real issues and impact your users. We also want to go further here in the future as well. So we want to provide some self-monitoring features in GitLab. So what this is really we're building all these great features in GitLab to help customers monitor their own applications. But we can also leverage those same features to monitor GitLab itself. And so in this case, GitLab can monitor GitLab. And the idea is that you can provide a built-in project, which is already out of the box configured to talk to the Prometheus server that comes with GitLab. We can have GitLab be aware of the metrics and the dashboards that should come and render those metrics. So you have a dashboard out of the box. And then we can also hook up things like the alerts, right? And so when you get a Prometheus alert coming in from Prometheus about GitLab, we can then open the GitLab issues, ping admins, and have a conversation and able to track any kind of alerts that are occurring within the GitLab system. Furthermore, we can also package runbooks in the repository for this project, which can be referenced by the alerts. And so if you get an alert saying that disk space is running low, that can trigger a runbook as well to help you learn about how you can perhaps add more disk, or maybe perhaps, for example, shard the drive if you need to within GitLab. And that can provide some great tools and tips on how to, again, hopefully address the situation before it becomes a problem. Now, some feedback we're looking for here across these two features. Again, you don't have to respond on these particular questions. These are just hopefully here to help get the conversation started and provide some ideas and feedback that we're looking for. But please pass feedback across anything you've seen in the presentation today on any of the issues that you saw linked. We love your feedback. It's incredibly valuable, and everyone can contribute. So that was what we're focused on here in the next few releases for the monitor team at GitLab. Again, error tracking, metrics, incident management, and instance monitoring. We're incredibly excited about all of these features and can't wait to ship them to you. Again, to learn more about our direction, please review our direction page. This includes information on the current releases that we're talking about here, as well as even further information out until later in 2019. You can view the epics and the categories on GitLab.com. Please comment on this presentation. You can mention me, of course, in any relevant issues on GitLab.com. You can contact me directly, or of course also schedule a video chat. Thank you so much for listening to this video. We really appreciate it. And again, please pass us feedback. We love to hear it. Thank you.